Okay. Are we live? Oh, we're live. Oh my gosh. Okay.
So
I thought I
appreciate
could
you,
go
hey?
live on the
Realize
Naked
we're
Truth
being
stream.
here.
Excuse me. Welcome to my live book launch update and the crazy week I've had. And let me please introduce Amanda. Do you want to introduce yourself, Amanda? Tell them what you do for me.
Sure. I do lots for you. It's very dynamic. But first and foremost, I'm your book launch director, I would say. So I help strategize what the whole launch will look like. And then in between your book launches, because you're such a prolific writer that there's more than one, then we do like your business development, which is really what I specialize in, is helping people develop their business.
Yeah, and I actually have known Amanda for years and years, but when she found out I was writing my memoir a couple years ago, she told me that she had experience with book launches, and we talked about it, and I got really excited, and then I hired her to help me with my book launches, and turned into just an amazing, awesome business relationship. So I'm so glad I have Amanda on my team. So I guess we've got a few things to go over today. We're gonna talk about whether or not I became a bestseller on my book launch day, and why my panel in-person event was canceled, and kind of what happened that day, and then also talk about my next steps as an author, so you know what's coming next. And we're gonna also talk about my book being banned in some states in the USA. But we'll start first with my book launch day. So the day before my book launch, Monday, October 21st, I realized I was too sick. There was no way I was going to be able to get to my book launch. The day before that, Sunday, I felt a little bit sick, but I thought I was probably getting over it, whatever it was. But Monday, I was like, nope, it hit me so hard. And so I contacted Amanda and Susan Davis, and we quickly came up with the plan to cancel the panel event in Vancouver. I wasn't the only one sick. We also had another panel member who was sick. So we canceled the panel altogether, and we're going to do it again. Right now, the date is January 23rd. That's the
Yeah, I
date
was
we have
gonna say,
set. We're going to do the exact same times. Yeah.
yeah,
Same
technically
thing,
it got
everything.
postponed.
Like, we're going to have the panel. I'll be there with my books. We'll do some book signing. And it will just be, and then the networking mixer afterwards. This is the idea. This is the plan. Anyway, right now, I will give updates on that as it becomes apparent to me, because obviously I haven't even met with my colleagues that we were putting the panel together yet, since everything went to shit with my health on Monday, October 21st. So when
But
we decided to cancel the event, yes, sorry.
I just want to say, like, what I just wanted to talk about what that was like to, because with a book launch, like, there's so much momentum that gets built over time. And in particular with this memoir, because we've been talking about this memoir for like well over a year, right? Before the Business Bible. The
Almost
Business
2 years.
Bible was kind of part of
Yeah.
the strategy for the memoir book launch. So this has been a really, really long momentum.
Mm-hmm.
And it was such, I know for you as well, but also for me, is that we drive this momentum and like we get, drunk on it too. And then to have it just like, and it's a chance for you and I to be together too, because we always work virtually together, and to like be in person and to hustle and sell the books and sign them and interview you and all this stuff. It's such a payoff for all the work that's gone into it, that it was, I was just like, but it was difficult for both of us, I
The
think.
investment of time, energy, money that went into the planning of that book launch, like, I got business cards, I got got postcards with information about my webinars printed. I purchased books so that I could sell
Hotel
them.
room
I
booked.
didn't get
Yeah.
to sell them. Like so much financial and energy. I was doing live streams every single day, and I was
Yeah.
committed to doing them every single day. And the last 2 days I was too sick to do them. I didn't
It's so
manage to
hard.
do them. But yeah, it was just crazy. And I think if I hadn't have been as sick as I was, I would have been devastated. But
Yeah.
because I was so ill, I was honestly just relieved. I was relieved that we canceled the event. I was just very worried that people would show up and we wouldn't be there. And one person I know did, because I got an email from them. And I mean, I just apologized profusely because I couldn't. I mean, when I was trying to send out the information to say like that the event was canceled, and trying to like send change the emails that were already pre-scheduled to go out to remind everybody of the event, and I had to like stop those and change them, and I was so ill, it was hard for me to just even accomplish that, and my brain was not working properly. It was just crazy.
Well, and I
But
remember
all
you
that
saying,
said,
oh, sorry. I
go
think we have a
on,
little
go
bit of
on.
a delay. I remember you saying too, like, well, maybe you should go. Remember, like before the event got canceled, when it was just that you couldn't go, and I was like, nobody is coming there to meet me. Like, you're the reason people are going. It's like, I'm no replacement for Annie Temple.
Oh man, I knew that like the panel was really important, and my book launch was an exciting aspect of the whole event for sure, but the panel was so important, and I really wanted that to go on.
Yeah.
But when it turned out that 2 panel guests were sick, and I'd put so much effort into it, then Susie reached out to the venue and asked them if we could reschedule, and they were very kind and considerate about it, and so we were just truly, honestly relieved.
Yeah.
So I'm lying in bed. So picture this. I'm lying in bed. I'm in my bed. It's Tuesday, October 22nd. I should have gotten up hours ago to go into Vancouver, but now I'm not. And I'm trying to answer like messages on my phone and email because of the event being canceled and everything. And Amanda is sending me messages about the results of whether whether I'm going up in bestseller status, because what Amazon does is it gives you like the number you're at in the category that you're in. So my categories for how sex work shaped my life were radical thought, occupational sociology, and labor and industry. Those were the categories that I chose for my memoir, because I felt like they were really, representative of what my memoir is about. And so Amanda's sending me updates, and I'm like rising in the bestseller status in those categories as people are purchasing my book. And Amanda, I'll let you give the final results.
We did it. It was like, it was such a bittersweet thing though. Like to celebrate that in isolation was difficult because yeah, the numbers just kept climbing, and then you hit it in one category, and then the next category, and then the next category, like number one, not just bestseller, but number one bestseller. And then it started being recommended on Amazon, and they gave you the little bestseller logo thing, and it just was like everything that we'd hoped for so long. And I'm just like, this is like the weirdest book launch ever to not have the author to like jump around the room with and celebrate. But it was
I
also like
know.
incredibly inspiring because it means that even without you being in person, even without us being able to live stream, even without you being able to do like a really hardcore outreach. I mean, usually book launch day, we're calling everybody we know, texting everybody, which I still did that, but you couldn't. And to know that you still were able to accomplish that goal. I mean, eventually you wound up in the hospital. Like it was that serious.
I
And
did.
to know
I
that,
did.
your fans, your audience, your friends, your supporters got you over that finish line was really inspiring for me.
It was amazing. It was honestly amazing. And what's more shocking about that actually is more and more people are coming forward. Originally it was just one and then two. Now it's four people. I think maybe even five. I actually started asking too online and getting people to check. But several of the states in the United States have banned my print book. So some of them can get my book by from Audible or as an ebook, but they can't get it in print. Others can only get Audible, and others it doesn't even come up. It doesn't even show in their state on their Amazon.
Now
And
we
that's just blows my mind that my life story is banned, or is censored.
Now we have a strategy for that though, which I think that maybe you want to talk about for a minute, is that we still have a way to get people that book. Do you want to talk about how we're going to manage
Yes.
that?
Yeah. So I did a book launch fundraiser beforehand where I was telling people I will send them a signed copy of my book if they donated to my book launch to help me pay for all of the things that I paid for that I didn't end up using. But so I had no idea. I thought it would only cost me around $5 to $10 to send my book, but it actually costs between $15 and $20 in Canada or the United States, no matter where I send it. So I had to raise the price slightly, but if anyone does struggle with the current price and wants to purchase my book, you can purchase my book through me on my website, and you'll
Yeah.
get a signed copy, and I'll send it directly to your address. Uh, and if it's price prohibitive, then please just let me know, because I want to make sure that everyone can have access to it, and I'll try to work with you. But I do have I have a bunch of books here at home that I was going to take to the book launch event. So they're on hand to send to you, and I can send them out. Thank you, Nur and Lee, for your comments. I'm so excited. Congratulations, bestseller. I know, I can't believe it. So yeah, if anyone does have trouble and wants to purchase the book from the United States, they can purchase it through me directly. Just contact me or go to my website, annietemple.com. So maybe now I'll tell about what happened and why I was so sick. So usually in my house, my family will get sick and I won't. Even though I have autoimmune conditions, I'm really very health conscious. I eat super healthy and I take supplements and I take good care of myself. So usually I don't get sick, or if I do, it's really mild. So when I started to feel a little bit run down before my book launch, I honestly just thought, oh, it's probably just from working so hard on and that's doing so much before the book launch, like the live streams every day. And even like ever since I started recording the audiobook, it's just been a push because the date was coming and there was so much to do in advance. And so I thought I was just pushing myself too hard. Take it easy for a few days, and usually I bounce back. But for some reason, I wasn't bouncing back. And I knew I was dehydrated because I was really thirsty. So I was like just drinking water constantly. But on the Monday, the day that we canceled the event, that day I was so ill that I was actually like dry heaving all day. Sorry to get a little bit explicit, but I was too dry and had no food or water in me really, even though I was drinking a lot of water. Nothing was coming out, but I was just basically like retching for a lot of the day, and it was harder for me to get water down. So even though I knew I was dehydrated, I was really thirsty, and I was trying to drink water, I was having a lot of problem. And that evening, my daughter, my oldest daughter, she got off work. She came to my place and took my youngest daughter out for dinner, and I asked her to get me some Gravol. So she came back with Gravol, and that helped. It helped a lot. I wasn't retching anymore, but looked like my internet kind of got weird there. But but it didn't really like I didn't get better, and I continued to feel worse and worse and worse until it was really hard for me to even walk from my bedroom to the bathroom. And I was hardly going to the bathroom, which I didn't even realize was like a sign of like really severe dehydration. But what I knew is, and what I know is that when I had my ostomy surgery last year, I was told that hydration is really important. And so I drink a lot of water. I don't drink pop. I drink coffee in the morning. That's it. But lots of water, and I put lots of salt on my food. And I thought I was getting enough electrolytes and whatnot from my diet and my supplements. But when I got what should have been a mild flu, because I have an ostomy and because I probably was low on reserves of hydration and electrolytes without knowing it. And I went from really sick to like deathly sick so fast. I didn't know what hit me. And I was lying in my bed feeling, for the first time in years, the last time and only other time I ever felt like this was in 2012 when I was literally dying. I had a hole in my intestine and I was dying at home and in my bed. And my mom came and I phoned her and I said, Mom, I think I'm dying. And she came and she got me into the hospital. And within about 48 hours or less, they had me on an operating table and removed 75% of my large intestine. And so I was feeling that sick and I was having pain in my stomach. So it was like also traumatic. It was like I was back to that place where I was in 2012 with my stomach cramping, and I was scared. I was like, what if I have a bowel perforation again? So I had no idea what was wrong with me. I had my daughter bring me like my clothes, and I got dressed in my bed and pulled the cash I had in my wallet out and shoved it in the drawer beside my bed, like just prepared myself, got my other daughter to come and get my youngest daughter, and I called an ambulance because I knew that I couldn't walk out of my house and I couldn't walk, so I couldn't even get myself out, and I really was scared of being stuck in a waiting room for 10 hours because I was too sick to sit in a waiting room. So the paramedics actually came and they came into my house. They were so kind. And I remember just saying to them, thank you. Thank you for being here. I'm so grateful that you guys are here to take care of me. Like I'm getting a little emotional, but like I never want to go to the hospital ever. I hate it. I just fucking hate that place. And I will only go if I'm so unwell that I can't take care of myself anymore because I don't want to burden my family. And at that point, I really was scared that I was dying, and I didn't know if I had a bowel perforation or something. So the paramedics, one of them has a wife with Crohn's, and so he was very understanding, and they gave me an IV line right in my bedroom before we even left. And they administered some fluids because I told them I was dehydrated. And they also gave me a little bit of fentanyl, which at first I said no, but because I was having such bad pain in my stomach, and that's what he did. The first, like, I had so many issues going on, and the first thing he said to me, tell me, what is the biggest complaint you have right now? And I said, pain in my stomach, because that was what was the worst. It was just like a gnawing, like fucking deep inner pain. And anyway, so I did finally agree to the fentanyl, which I'm glad I did, because of that I was able to be fast tracked at the hospital, because they can't just leave you out in a waiting room for 10 hours when they've already administered an opioid or something like that. That's what he said. So I got fast tracked into like the next waiting room. And that waiting room I was in for a couple of hours, and I had no fluids, nothing. And I was sitting among all these people that were talking to each other and laughing, and honestly thought I was dying. And I asked one nurse for help, and she said, I'm not your nurse. And then I asked a gentleman that was sitting across from me if he could get a nurse for me, because I was so unwell that I couldn't even talk talk very loudly, and it was hard for me to get the attention of a nurse. And I knew from years and years of being in the medical system that if you have someone with you that can advocate for you, you'll get seen faster. And I was alone. So I knew that if I didn't, sorry, but I just knew that if I didn't advocate for myself, that I could just sit there and die and no one would know. And so I finally like drew in a lot of energy as much as I could when I saw a nurse kind of coming out from behind a curtained area. And the guy that I asked to help me, he said, sure. He got up, he walked away, and he just never came back. Like, it was so weird. So anyway, I mustered up the strength finally to ask a nurse for help. And I said, nurse, really loudly. And this nurse came over like a little bit closer, but not close enough that I could talk for her to hear me. And so then she could see that I was straining to try to talk. So then she came a little closer. And I told her, I feel like I'm dying. And so she got me in really quickly after that. And they got me a CT scan, which came back, thankfully, that I did not have a bowel perforation or anything going on in my bowels. And in fact, all of my Crohn's markers came back good. So I wasn't having a Crohn's flare at all. So that's positive. But what my only problem was electrolytes, fluids. Even though I was drinking water at home, I wasn't getting rehydrated fast enough, as fast as I was losing hydration. So I had a couple bags of water administered with potassium and literally walked out of the hospital, the next morning. They admitted me and walked out of the hospital the next morning and got into an Uber and walked into my home and started to tidy up because my house was a real freaking mess by then after days of feeling so shitty. And that's literally all it took was water. Like, not just water, obviously, because water wasn't meeting those needs for me at home. But now, obviously, learned from that situation that having an ostomy has made me extremely prone to dehydration really quickly. And I actually did a bit of a Google search on it, and I found multiple different testimonials of other people who were hospitalized with their first flu after having an ostomy. So I'm not the first person to have this happen, which is comforting because yeah, it just hit me. It just came on out of nowhere. I didn't expect it. So that's what happened that day. I did survive.
Is it the flu that dehydrated you? Is that what caused the dehydration? Is because you had been sick?
Yeah, like I'm guessing that I probably, if I was really very hydrated, well hydrated before I got the flu, I probably would have been okay. Or if I would have recognized right at the beginning when I started feeling run down and starting to have flu symptoms that I needed to start pounding like electrolyte drinks or something like that. If I would have known that, I probably would have been able to go to my launch event. You know what I mean? That's how it's like, it's my own freaking fault, but this is how we learn. So.
Well,
but
I
know
mean,
what
those
else
are
I should
unusual
say about
circumstances. Sorry, those are unusual circumstances.
The thing is every single time something like this has happened to me, where I've been basically stopped in my tracks by my health, I've felt like there was a lesson in it, and it's a repeating lesson for me, and it's because I need to relearn it over and over. And that lesson is what really matters. What really fucking matters. And when you're facing your mortality, it becomes so clear really quickly what matters. And lying in the hospital bed, or sitting in the way, any moment of that whole ordeal, my book launch and whether I became a bestseller or not became really unimportant to me. It did. Even though I love it and I'm not, I'm excited and I'm grateful and all of that, I don't want to diminish like the how much it means to me that people, help me achieve that. But in those moments, I realized that that was just not actually the very important. And what was important to me were things like, number one, my children, of course, and the people that I love in my life that I was not in the mood to leave behind. Another thing that has happened every time I've kind of been in that frame mind space where I feel like I'm gonna maybe lose my life. I've always thought to myself, I still have more to do. I'm not done yet, and I never really believed I would die because I thought I'm not done yet. So, there must be more purpose for me. And, but this time I thought, am I done? Was my memoir my purpose? Am I going to die on the day that my memoir is released?
Which is what you messaged
That's so
me.
ironic,
And I was like, don't ever say anything. I was like, how are you doing? What are you doing? Are you alone? Are you, when you're in the hospital? And you messaged me that. You were like, am I going to die on the day I release my memoir? And I was like, no, that's not a thing. That is, however, a very good segue, in my opinion, to what is the next thing. Like, there's another book, isn't there?
Yes. I've been working on it, and I've got some tweaking to do because I've gotten like super excited recently about the potential for an impact with this book. And the book is essentially about intimacy, and it's coming from the perspective of someone who is a sex worker, an intimacy specialist, and also because of my health journey, I feel that I've got a very unique understanding of the importance of intimacy from many different angles, and health issues that interfere with intimacy is a major one for me that I understand and that I feel impacts a lot of people. So that's kind of where I'm going with the next book. So I'm not going to tell you too much more than that because I think like there's still some evolution to happen with that book. I have an idea of exactly what it's going to look like, but sometimes my ideas change and things turn out differently than how I plan.
One of my favorite sayings is,
but yeah, and when I say that, I mean like what?
Sorry, one of my favorite, we've got a bit of a delay to get used to. One of my favorite sayings is, man plans, God laughs.
Yes. Yes. Ever since I heard that saying, the first time I heard that, but another huge lesson that I've learned from my health issues and this last week was another reminder, is how short our lives are, how precious our days are, that we are healthy enough to actually have the luxury of trying to get a bestseller or trying to have a book launch or writing a memoir. Like these days that we have to make an impact or to strive for our dreams and goals, they're limited, and we don't know how many we have and when they'll be taken away from us. So it's so important to live fearlessly and love fearlessly. Those are like the thing, kind of the two things that I feel like I stand for.
Yeah. Well, awesome. I mean, I'm just so grateful. I'm really grateful for the people that supported you. I'm grateful for the people that supported you through me, the people that I know personally that, made sure to get a copy. Although the audiobook is no longer free with purchase, the audiobook is freaking awesome, I have to say. You are a wonderful narrator. We didn't get to do an audiobook for the Business Bible, and I was really curious about how it would go, like how you would do. I think it's a very intimidating thing. I know it was a really big lift for you. It was a lot of work that went into that, and it's so good. And it's such like, I mean, I think all memoirs should be narrated by the author, but I mean, I just can't imagine anybody else doing it anyways because of the content, you know? And so it's really good. You're a really good narrator. I think the audiobook is awesome, and I really encourage people to go buy it.
Well, thank you. That was one of the hardest challenges of my fucking life. Like, not like, obviously, I would say my health challenges are the hardest challenges of my life. But like, as in goals that I set out to accomplish, recording my audiobook and all of the editing and getting it ready and getting it approved by Amazon or Audible, I should say. Oh my gosh, that was just so much work. I was getting up at 4 a.m. to record just because my neighbors are so noisy upstairs, and I had like this big patio umbrella with a blanket over it so that it would make a little podcast studio that like, you know, to get the noise away. And I literally cried during parts of recording that audiobook because it was emotional parts of my story, and I was living through them again. And then there's parts where I couldn't help but laugh while I was reading it because it was so freaking funny. So it's just, yeah, I can't wait to get people's opinions. You know, I heard that once you have 25 reviews on Amazon, that the algorithm suggests your stuff more often. So if anyone loved my book, I would love a review. Help me get my
You know
get the
what?
word out there that you know.
What I will say is I wrote a review, but I put the title of the book in the review. And I would not recommend people do that because it got flagged because it had the word sex in it. So don't put the title of the book in your review. Just a heads up. Isn't that insane? Oh, it's like we can talk about violence all day long, no problem. But God forbid somebody has sex. It's so insane.
I know, it's crazy. And like I know like there's a book there's sex worker books in the States, like Horror of New York. I wonder, like, are the states that banned my book, did they ban her book? Like, I wonder about that, you know? I would be so curious. I'd love to find out, like, is it any book with the word sex or horror or sex work, or what are the guidelines that make them decide which books are banned? That's what I would like to know.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's crazy.
I don't know.
Well, I guess, wow, I can't believe it. We have 50 people watching. That's amazing.
Woo, yay!
That's a pretty big crowd for me. Am I missing comments? Oh, review coming up. Thank you, Lee. Well, I guess we could say goodbye. You guys, I'm #1 bestseller in radical thought. I love that category. Labor and industry, which is pretty cool because a lot of people don't even think sex work is a job. And also #1 in occupational sociology. And that's the one I'm kind of most excited about because I would just love it if universities would take my memoir and use it to teach their students, especially people who work with sex workers, police, anyone in criminology, anyone in community support programs, people like that, I think. Hey, Tara. Oh, you're listening to my audiobook and you love it? Thank you. That's awesome. I just love that people are listening to my audiobook. Please, if you considered leaving me a review on Audible. You know what I've noticed about Audible is that even some of the most popular books out there that are amazing have hardly any reviews. a lot of them. So I've started to try and go in and review all the books I really like, because I feel like those authors deserved to be acknowledged for their amazing work. So if you love me, if you love my book, please consider doing a review. And if there's anything I can do in return for you, let me know. I got lots of ideas. I guess I should let you go, Amanda. We both have our lives to get on with now.
It was really great to be
You have
here.
a lot of important things to say, and I'm glad you're still here to say them.
Yeah.
Thank you, Farah. Sorry for interrupting you, Amanda.
No, it's okay. There's like, I'm not, we meet so much online, like virtually, that I'm used to it being so much more fluid, and having a delay has been something to get used to. But yeah, I'm just really grateful that you survived your book launch, literally. But yeah, and as always, it's just a real pleasure to work with you and to be around this content. You know, you're definitely the only client I have that's this, that's in this space, and it's such an important space, and you're such a good orator and a person to speak to it, and it's an honor to work with you.
I want to say the same about you. I think people should hire you, but I know you're also picky about who you work with. But I think anyone who is looking for someone to help them with their book launch or their business should reach out to Amanda, because I highly vouch for and recommend her services. My life has been so much more exciting since I've had Amanda in my corner, and she also reins me in. She brings me down to earth when I'm going off all over the place, because I tend to do that. I'm like an idea person, and I just go, oh my God, I have so many ideas. I got to do this. And Amanda's like, okay, let's start with one idea. But it's awesome. But thank you guys. I love your comments. Thank you, Farah. I can't even remember if I'm pronouncing your name right. It's Farah. And Tara. Yes, I'm starting to review audiobooks. You guys are the best. I guess I'll let you go. This is great. I feel so loved, and watch for my next book. Please sign up to my newsletter on my website so that you can get updates. AnnieTemple.com. Please sign up, and I love you. Au revoir.